it is crazy. And that's why I always like to bring up the San Antonio part, because everybody
Mhm.
remembers the Las Vegas part, but nobody remembers like the grind.
Mhm.
There was a game that I remember you played at Washington, and Bill Laimbeer was the coach. And I remember watching on television you playing, and you would come in, change the tempo, and he would sub you out. And you would come in and do these things, and he would sub you out. We played you at Vegas, and I believe I was still in LA at this point in time. I think I was still in LA. We played you, and that was a pivotal game for you, because I remember it was because of you that they won. And you kind of got emotional and kind of teared up or whatever. And I could kind of see the vibe of like the young player trying to figure it out, a coach that's really hard on you. And I know what it's like where everything is your fault. Everything is on your shoulders and things like that. From where you are then to where you are now, what would you say to those players that are developing? Because everybody knows you now as a scorer, fourth in the league in scoring, and you know, point guard, and with leading LA right now and all this stuff and starting. But you came off the bench, you were sixth woman of the year. You had to play different roles in this league as a number one draft pick. So like what would you say about that experience in your growth?
I really appreciate you bringing that up because I do remember one time, I don't know if you remember this, but, like, I was actually in San Antonio still, and walked into USC. LA was practicing at SC. You guys were leaving, we were coming, and you just looked at me and, like, never met me, didn't know me, I didn't know you, and you were like, "How are you doing? Like, you okay?" And, like, I'm like, "Yeah." Like, barely, you know what I mean? But, like, takes one to know one, you know what I mean? Like, when you kinda go through some of those trials and struggles and yeah, Bill was really hard on me. I mean, it was necessary because that's the only way I'd be here right now. And, people ask me all the time, like, "Why do you play so hard?" Like, the the level of hard that I had to play to be able to get here, like, I will never take that for granted. And, um, you know, players that come into the league now, a lot of times they have grace or maybe, a little bit of like a cushion to be able to perform, and that was not the case with me. And so you're kind of like trial by fire, and I failed a lot. I failed hard a lot, and I was getting yanked, I was getting in and out, and, I think a lot of people wrote me off. What you start to just realize, like, I cannot point fingers or, like, decide to blame anyone else for this. I need to figure out what I need to do to be successful, and so I need to change my game, I need to change my attitude, I need to change my outlook, and, like, I want this, and I'm gonna make this happen, but it just might not be the traditional route, and now that we're here, I look back and I'm like, "That's why I think I am who I am now because I didn't have the traditional route," and, I definitely had to, like, grind it out and go through the back roads, but I wouldn't change it, and it's way more fulfilling like this.
Honestly, being your teammate, I literally look at you and it's always funny. So every time I'm in the weight room and KP comes in, but I'm in there before her, she's like shocked on her face because how did I make it in there? Because honestly, I get it. I get it because how did I make it in there before you makes no sense either. But I literally look at you and I'm like, your work ethic is crazy. Like, I remember one time after one of the practices, I think I had to work out with some of the fever coaches that I came to practice, and I was getting ready to leave, and KP was like, "Are we getting shots up?" And I was like, I was just about to head on out and change. And I was like, but you're right. Let's go get shots up. But you seriously make everybody around you better. Like, I even tell like my mom when we got done, I'm like, I love playing with KP. I'm like, the way she works, but the way you talk, like I don't crash out anymore, Candace. And that's because of Candace. Why did you make that
Did
face?
you
No, KP,
Aaliyah, did
tell
you
her.
tell her? Did you give her any context?
Tell her. No, I didn't, but you can. You can.
Okay, so Candace, just, like, for a reference, first day in PD, it's me and AB on one side, Tiff, Tosh,
And for
and
our
Kiki on
listeners,
the
that's
other side.
player development. Player development. PD.
Sorry,
Sorry.
PD, player
Got to tell
development.
our puzzle.
Aaliyah, first miss is like, "Wow, what's wrong with me?" And at first, I'm kinda like, wait, what? Like, I'm trying to figure out who she's talking to. And then as it's going on, like, she'll miss it. She'll be like, clanked. God, can you miss any more? Like, she's like talking to herself. And I'm like, Aliyah, like, easy, easy.
That's and I want you to know she's saying it just like that too. And I'm like,
so I'm like, okay, like, this is good. This is good for me to know that this is like, you're crashing out during PD. This is good to know. So then we started to do like self-talk, like, and then she mocks me now. So she's like, great job. Oh, honey, you're doing so good. And I'm like, hey, whatever works. But guess what? She's been on fire in the game, so that is
I'm
not a
literally doing
coincidence,
good.
is
I'm
it?
doing so much better. I'm
He's
doing
doing better.
so much better. So I don't crash out anymore. Candace, write that down.
That's my
Write
favorite
that down.
thing is to send her a text after a WNBA game, like, crash out 2 minutes and 3 seconds into the third quarter. Like, it's my favorite thing to do.
Oh my
But
gosh.
with that in your work ethic, I think everybody will say that. I remember the first time when I signed with the Aces, one of my first workouts with the Aces, was I came over to before we had the practice facility. And it was at that gym. And they were like, "What do you want to do?" I was like, "Well, I'll do what KP has been doing, like I'll just do her workout, whatever." And it was that 3-point drill.
Okay, yeah, that was set up to fail. Like, whoever
Yeah,
told you
but
that
I
that
just
was a good
mean
idea, that
like,
was a bad idea.
yeah, I'm one of those that's like, I'm competitive, I'm not gonna stop, like type of thing. But can you explain that drill? Because it was insane. I remember being like, this is crazy. This is insane. Yeah. So go ahead.
Well, okay, Aliyah, for reference, so Candace comes into the workout, and I had already been, like, going, so I'm kind of, like, in the meat of it now.
Yeah.
So, like, that wasn't even fair, 1. 2, I had been doing this drill for, like, months trying to get it. So this wasn't like a, "Hey, we're gonna try
You
this
just
today."
did
This
it,
is like,
yeah.
I've been trying and I haven't gotten it. So that's another point. I don't even know if you know that. So, Aliyah, it was make 1 in a row, 5 spots, then 2 in a row, then 3 in a row. So if you miss one, you have to stay at that spot till you make it. So then it's 4 in a row, 5 in a row, 6 in a row, 7 in a
Oh
row.
my gosh.
Time. Tell her the
Timed.
time. So tell her the time. Yeah.
Oh, wait, we were trying to get it in, like, 5 minutes
You're literally lying.
or
No,
something
I
like that.
swear. I swear.
But, like, to Candace's defense, she, like, comes in, she, like, warms up, and they're like, "Okay, like, we're gonna start with this drill." This is not a drill you ever start with. Like, I would never recommend that to anyone. And then she comes in, and now it's like, "Okay, Candace, make 5 in a row, and if you miss it, you have to start over." So then poor Candace is, like, trying to be a trooper, so she keeps starting over, and
I
then she keeps starting the
starting
time
Oh,
over.
you're
I'm
playing
like,
around.
and I'm like, I'm not gonna quit, like, type of thing. But then I'm like, this is crazy. Yeah. So that's KP. That is
That's
KP.
really
But
crazy. So did you ever do it? Did you ever get it
I
done?
think eventually I probably got to, like, 7 in a row or something, but the time actually, like, that's the thing that
Oh, went
holds you
out. That's
back.
so crazy. Don't ever
But
suggest a drill like that for me.
no,
Ever.
I
yeah.
think you should do it at the next workout, to be honest with you.
Tomorrow.
I
It
think you
just
should
says
do
if
it at
you
that.
crash out.
But
But hold up,
I
though,
do wanna go ahead.
I do wanna say something about the work ethic thing. I think a lot of people, like, say that, and, like, I'm not, like, trying to, like, minimize that at all, but I do think it's important to note, like, I actually, like, just like playing basketball. So, like, I, like, love to play. So, it can count as, like, work, but it's really more of just, like, dude, like you said, like, you're just trying to figure out, "How can I get better? How can I push this limit?" Because, like, physically, like, there's really, like, I have to be exceptional to be able to dominate in just, like, certain assets. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have to be able to, like, shoot like this, or I wouldn't have a job. Like, keep it a buck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do remember the Versa climber after doing training camp, and I do remember
Why would you
doing
do that?
extra cardio. I mean, you do it to get in
Reverse
better shape after.
Mm-mm.
I can't wait till Aliyah
Mm-mm.
switch. Like when that switches, and I don't even think she
Ice the
understands the
climber
power
after
that she
the
harnesses. But anyway,
Ice
we'll
the
get to that later. I do want to talk about your Achilles injury. Um, after your Achilles injury in 2020, you came back in a different role and embraced it fully. Can you talk about that injury? Because I do think injuries, you go through it, it's difficult. It's a process of acceptance. It's grief. It's all of those things. It's unfairness. It's being without the game for the first time. Um, how did that change you? I remember when you tore your Achilles. I remember your posts afterwards when you were under anesthesia and you were just kind of like whatever and you posted. Um, but what was that experience like?
Yeah, I mean, I think it like you said, like, earlier, that switch, like, for her when she flips it, that was that switch for me physically. Like, understanding the value of recovery, strength and conditioning, diet, all those things, and, like, how that plays a pivotal role in your performance. And so just, like, changing that, um was huge for me, right? And I think, like, obviously, like, starting to work with, like, a performance coach and being super intentional on, you know, trying to figure out how to maximize your athleticism and, your endurance and stuff like that. And then I also think, dude, coming off the bench just to, like, is a skill set. Like, people that can come off the bench and be effective in the game change the game. And I didn't understand that until, you're being brought off the bench, and I'm like, "You know what? Like, I'm gonna try to be the best bench player I could possibly be." And that actually ended up helping win a gold medal. So, like, I'm super grateful for that because it's like, "Okay, Team USA, like, you're gonna be first off the bench, and you have to change the energy, the momentum, whatever the game needs, you gotta inject it, and you gotta go fast." Like, it's like a drug, you just gotta, like, inject it and go, and that's kinda like a
Don't do
skill,
drugs,
like I
kids.
said, and it no, it's really and it is, and, like,
Unless
if
you're a
you
sixth woman and then you
Unless you're
can
a
do
sixth
drugs.
woman.
Then you inject drugs into the lineup.